Hello and welcome to another Toffee Blues video, your source for all things Everton. I'm Louis. This is a player ratings off the back of yesterday's disappointing home defeat to Nottingham Forest. Start with the game as a whole. Forest, decent side to be fair, solid, well drilled. They're obviously full of confidence, in good form. However, I feel the way in which Everton lost the game, it was very much of their own making. Pickford didn't really have a lot to do until it went to 2-0 and then we were pushing on. 2 chances, 2 goals, 2 soft goals, particularly the second, one of the worst I think we've conceded in years, and offered very little. We didn't lay a glove on them, didn't do anywhere near enough to ask them questions, and it was a very disappointing day at Goodison to end 2024. And off the back of 4 decent results as well, you'd have thought that the players would have had a bit more about them. Unfortunately, that was not the case on a dour afternoon and a dour performance from the lads as well. Before we get into the ratings, to the referee yesterday, I feel like I've got to bring it up. I do not know where the PGMOL and the Premier League get these referees from, but they've clearly never played the game, and they just don't know what they're doing. It's as simple as that. I don't want to come on and start moaning about them all the time, but Everton lost yesterday because we weren't good enough, but you're certainly not helped with decisions like, the one in the first half where he gave the drop ball to Pickford when he was 30 yards out of his goal and Chris Wood was behind him. It's like something you'd see at under 7s level, not in the Premier League. He was horrendous in my opinion. So hopefully we don't have to put up with him anymore. But as I say, when we find a good one, I'll be very surprised. But I just thought I had to mention that anyway, because I was not a happy man in the Gladys Street yesterday. Moving on anyway, player ratings. Pickford up first. Again, strong performance from our goalie, 7 out of 10. Didn't feel there was anything he could do with the first 2. Positionally, not great for the first one, but with the context behind it, he wanted to come out and claim, and then obviously he gets stranded because it was a well-worked goal from them, to be fair. Second, no chance, then a great double save at the end as well. Urgency on the ball, which was lacking in some players, so feel sorry for him as we do half the season, but a decent performance from Pickford, 7 out of 10. Young, 6.5, again, solid, didn't put a foot wrong, up against, a lot of pace down their flanks, and he stood up to the task well. Again, neither goal was down to him, and I thought a good performance from him, from someone who's having a good season. So 6.5 for Young. Tarkowski next. I thought the first 15 minutes was probably the worst Tarkowski's looked for us in a long time. He was really shaky, particularly on the ball, and off the back of a man of the match display on Boxing Day as well. Probably expecting a little bit more from him. Didn't happen for the first 15. I think he's probably culpable for the first goal as well. Should be impacting Wood more. Shouldn't let him get the run on him like that. And then after that, to be fair, I thought he had a really good game. But in the Premier League, you can't afford not 15 minutes, especially at centre half. So it's a 6 out of 10 for Tarkowski in the end, and what was an uncharacteristic first quarter of an hour from the defender. Jared next, Branthwaite, 7. Again, felt really sorry for him, like Pickford. You could see his frustration actually when he was coming up for corners with what he was surrounded by. There was such a lack of quality. Again, you'll notice so far some of the ratings are quite high, because I thought that some players individually had decent games, but some were so below par to what's expected at our football club that it was let the side down, pretty much. But Branthwaite, a 7. Good performance from him. Looks like he's fully back now, strong in the air, good on the ball, reading the game well, and much more like Jared as we've seen over these past 3-4 games or so, which is great. Mykolenko next. He's come in for a lot of stick online, and I have to agree with it. I was a huge fan of Mykolenko's last season. I thought he was immense for us, really consistent. This year, he's costing us. He's giving goals away. He looks quite weak defensively, which was his strong point, and he's offering us nothing going forward, linking up with Ndiaye, and I think he needs to time out the team, because that second goal, it's a poor ball from Decore, but I've seldom seen such a cheap giveaway from any player, and it was really a poor performance from him, and you can feel the frustration around the ground as well with certain things that he does. So I don't want to pile on, because I don't like pile on players, but it needs to be said. His form this season hasn't been good enough, and Coleman and Patterson, when they've played, have done well, and Young can play left back. So for me, I think a time out the team is needed for the full back, but a 4 out of 10 anyway, and a really poor afternoon. Mangala, 7. Super impressed again. Kept things simple, kept things tidy. robust defensively, kept the ball well. Looked like he was probably going to be the only one to create something. I think he had our only shot up until the 70th minute. So another strong performance from the loanee, and someone who I think we need to get tied down to a permanent deal as soon as possible. And I feel like we're really missing James Garner, and when the two of them can link up, hopefully we can have more of a solid midfield that's a bit more fluid than we're seeing at the minute. But a good performance from Mangala and a 7 for me. Garner next, a 5. He won the ball well, but at home, Everton just simply haven't got the players to break teams down, and Garner falls into that category. We know that, he's been like that for years, but he's another one who's let down by people around him. Years ago, when he'd have quality, he'd have Richarlison in front of him, he'd have Digne bombing on. You could afford him to just win it and give it. Whereas now he's passing it to players who aren't good technically, and the ball moves just break down, and so it ends up making him look a little bit worse as well, unfortunately. But again, he won the ball back well, but we need more at home against the side who, again, take nothing away from Forest. They're well drilled, well organised, but they looked to me like a team playing on confidence rather than quality, and the game was there for Everton, I thought, if we wanted it, and just weren't good enough on the ball. So 5 out of 10 for Garnett. Harrison next, a 4. I thought rightly subbed at half-time. He looks completely devoid of any confidence. Far too many touches, a real lack of quality. Worked really hard defensively, but again, away from home, I've got no issue with that. If we're playing Arsenal and we're playing these players and they're digging in and we're getting a good point on the road with the scenario we're in, that's fine. But at home, we need to be the ones taking control, and we just simply haven't got the players. So January's going to be massive, and unfortunately Harrison falls into that bracket. It's similar to Mykolenko. He's not had a good season, and for a winger, you need to at least look like you've got a threat, and he didn't. So rightfully subbed at half-time, and a 4 out of 10 for Harrison. Doucouré, again, a 4. Really disappointing, the second goal. I mean, I've said about Mykolenko's part, but the 10-yard pass for a Premier League footballer should not be difficult, and not just in that scenario, but it was for most of the game for Doucouré as well. So disappointing, and again, a 4 out of 10. And Dye, felt really sorry for him. Looked like he was making things happen. Again, could his end product be there? Maybe. Should be a little bit more clinical in front of goal. Maybe pick out that final ball a bit better. But again, you can't fault his work rate and his flashes of quality that he shows. And he's so exciting. People who sit in my part of the ground as well know that. It's once he gets the ball, you're up on your feet. You feel like something's going to happen. And again, another one who you felt sorry for on a poor afternoon. Excuse me. Brozier next. Again, impressed with him. 6.5. Pretty isolated, but done his job. He was physical. He was tidy. He was good in the air, and a solid first outing from the off, from the striker who I think we'll see a lot more of in the second half of the season. Hopefully, he can get more quality around him, like we've been saying for Calvert-Lewin for some time, and January's going to be crucial. But a good display from him anyway. Subs, Lindstrom, 7. Again, impressive when he come on. Linked up really well with Patterson as well. Worked back defensively. A couple of decent crosses in. A few not so good. You can tell he's a little bit inconsistent, but he certainly offered you more than Harrison. And unfortunately, with such a soft second goal, we'll never know if it would have had more of an impact. But a 7 out of 10 anyway for Lindstrom. Patterson, 7 as well. Defended really well. Got forward really well. Offered more going forward than any fullback we've seen all season. A bit old-fashioned, and I just like my fullbacks to defend, but if they can attack, it's a bonus. If Patterson gets the defensive side of his game locked down, he has to play, because all teams have got to do against Everton is isolate the wingers. If you just isolate the wingers, go 2v1, 3v1 against them, you just neutralise the threat completely. And with Mykolenko, we've had no one in support of our wide players, but Patterson was, and every time we were coming down the right, it was looking like something might happen. Unfortunately, it didn't, but it was a lot more encouraging than it has been. So a 7 for him, and me personally, I'd like to see him or Seamus start at Bournemouth away. Beto and Calvert-Lewin, 6.5, weren't really on long enough. Physical, hustled and bustled, but to no avail in the end. So 6.5 for each of them. And that's it. Again, so frustrating. You feel like you're getting a bit of a run. Obviously, we've only won 1 in that time, in those 4 games, but 3 difficult fixtures, and you feel like, right, we're looking up, we're moving on. And then you get it with a not just a result, but a performance like that is frustrating. So again, I think I've probably gone in a little bit too harsh on the players there. I never like to do that really, but again, yesterday was so frustrating that in my opinion, it needed to be said. But that's all from me anyway. Thanks for listening. Have a great new year. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Keep supporting the lads, and hopefully it'll turn come Bournemouth away. And hopefully we have a few new signings in as well. But as I say, take care, stay safe, see you soon.